At 2:47 p.m. today, U.S. Marshals showed up at the Federal Correctional Institution in Terre Haute, Indiana, carrying a judicial directive endorsed by Judge Tanya Chutkan, issued at 1:34 p.m. and initially kept confidential. This directive instructed the Bureau of Prisons to promptly seize all passports and travel papers held by prisoner number 473-820-54, Donald Trump. It also mandated that Trump's passport details be input into the Treasury Enforcement Communications System, or TEX, which notifies Customs and Border Protection officers at all U.S. entry points that Trump is barred from exiting the nation. By 3:15 p.m., the marshals accessed Trump's cell, notified him about the judicial directive, and took possession of his American passport. At 3:34 p.m., the Bureau of Prisons notified the court that the passport was safely stored and that Trump had no further access to any overseas travel papers. At 4 p.m., the judicial directive was made public after being unsealed. The directive clearly declares, quote, "The defendant is deemed an extreme flight risk." Considering recent intelligence on foreign asylum proposals, the defendant's financial capabilities, and his proven inclination to disregard judicial mandates, the court determines that extra precautions are essential to stop the defendant from escaping U.S. jurisdiction. Hit the subscribe button now, as what I'm going to detail isn't merely a routine action. This represents a federal judiciary addressing the exposed Russian asylum proposal and the uncovered secret chamber at Mar-a-Lago, asserting that Trump represents such a grave flight risk that his passport needs to be seized even as he's imprisoned. This shows the authorities implementing all feasible safeguards to guarantee that should Trump somehow break free or get released, he couldn't depart the nation. Here's the background leading to this judicial directive, since the chronology indicates that prosecutors have been assembling arguments for passport seizure over several weeks. On August 15th, sensitive intelligence files about Russia's asylum proposal were disclosed. Those files outlined a scheme to remove Trump from detention and transport him to Moscow. On August 20th, the Supreme Court rejected Trump's appeals unanimously 9-0. On August 22nd, FBI personnel found the concealed chamber at Mar-a-Lago holding classified files and monetary records. On August 25th, prosecutors submitted a confidential motion to Judge Chutkan, contending that the combination of these events, the asylum proposal, the depletion of appeals, and the finding of extra hidden items, proves Trump is a flight risk despite being locked up. The motion asserted that although Trump is presently detained, there exist situations where he might be freed or flee. And if those arise, the authorities need protocols ready to block his escape to another nation. The motion sought the seizure of Trump's passport, his inclusion on the no-fly list, and notifications to border officials. On August 27th, Judge Chutkan conducted a private hearing. Trump's lawyers contended that taking the passport from someone already imprisoned for a 35-year term is superfluous and retaliatory. Prosecutors rebutted that the Russian asylum proposal and the secret chamber demonstrate Trump possesses both the resources and the motivation to avoid justice if a chance presents itself. At 1:34 p.m. today, Judge Chutkan released the directive. Press that like button immediately if you grasp what occurred. A federal judge seized Trump's passport during his imprisonment due to intelligence indicating Russia provided him asylum, and investigators located a secret chamber implying he was preparing for possibilities. The algorithm controls what gains traction. You control if this breakdown gets to those who should view it. Because what I'm presenting is the authorities viewing Trump as such a major flight risk that they're enacting preventive actions despite his incarceration. At 4:15 p.m., Trump's attorneys released a declaration. Quote, "The seizure of President Trump's passport is a shocking and unlawful deed. Our client is enduring a 35-year term. He isn't departing. The notion that he constitutes a flight risk is ludicrous. This is pure torment. We intend to submit an urgent appeal." At 4:47 p.m., Trump shared on social platforms via his lawyers, quote, "They seized my passport. I'm in a jail cell and they're concerned I'll jet to Russia." This reveals how deranged and tainted this setup is. They'll resort to anything to keep me confined and muted. Leave a comment immediately. Share your view on whether seizing Trump's passport while he's imprisoned is justified or overkill. I'm reviewing each reply since this issue is splitting legal scholars. At 5:15 p.m., the authorities submitted a public reply outlining the basis for the passport seizure. The document, authorized by special counsel Jack Smith, declares, quote, "The defendant has received an asylum bid from an adversarial foreign regime. That bid encompassed a thorough removal strategy. The defendant has stashed items in a secret chamber at his home, showing a habit of deceit and avoidance. The defendant retains substantial monetary assets even in detention and has backers ready to undertake extreme actions for him. Although the defendant is detained now, predictable situations like health crises, humanitarian discharge, or breakout could place him beyond the protected site. Should any of those happen, the defendant would present an instant flight risk. Seizing his passport currently guarantees he can't utilize it if he obtains it. Moreover, inputting his data into text guarantees that if he tries to exit using fake papers, border officials will be notified. The document includes a secret supplement that, per insiders, contains intelligence captures indicating Trump's agents have kept contacting Russian contacts even post the asylum proposal's exposure. Share this clip now, as what I'm set to clarify is the real-world implications of passport seizure and the no-fly list. Upon passport seizure, the actual item is removed and retained by the authorities. Trump lacks access to it anymore. If he got freed or fled, he couldn't show his passport at an airfield or border point. Yet, a resolute person with means might try to acquire a counterfeit passport or travel papers. That's why the authorities also inputted Trump's data into TEX. TEX is a repository employed by Customs and Border Protection to check voyagers. When Trump's name was added, it marked him as forbidden from leaving the US. If he seeks to depart under any identity or with any paper, the setup will warn officials. Furthermore, prosecutors asked for Trump to be placed on the Transportation Security Administration's no-fly list. The no-fly list blocks people considered safety hazards from entering commercial flights. If Trump's name appears on it, he can't purchase a fare or enter an aircraft. But the no-fly list doesn't cover private planes. A personal jet might still take off with Trump aboard. That's why the authorities have collaborated with the Federal Aviation Administration to mark any flight itineraries involving Trump's name or planes linked to groups connected to him. At 6 p.m., legal specialists started evaluating if the judicial directive holds up legally. Ex-federal prosecutor Andrew Weissman remarked, quote, "This is atypical, yet not without precedent. Courts possess wide power to set terms to avert flight. Trump's imprisonment doesn't remove the danger. Health crises arise. Humanitarian discharge is feasible, and with the intelligence on the asylum bid, the court is warranted in adopting preventive steps." Harvard law professor Lawrence Tribe shared, quote, "The passport seizure during Trump's detention might appear drastic, but it's a wise action considering proof that a foreign regime has proposed aiding his escape. Courts need to account for dire possibilities. Legal basis for these actions is present. In prominent cases with accused having vast means and global ties, courts have seized passports, immobilized funds, and enforced travel bans, even for those detained. The logic is simple. The larger the means and the firmer the global links, the greater the flight danger. Trump possesses both. He has riches. He has allies with means. And now, a foreign regime providing refuge." At 6:47 p.m., opponents of the directive started voicing opinions. Civil rights lawyer Alan Dershowitz remarked, quote, "Seizing the passport of an individual already doing 35 years in jail is official excess. It's vindictive and achieves no valid goal. Trump isn't breaking out of a federal jail." Conservative law commentator Jonathan Turley shared, quote, "This appears like performance. Trump is incarcerated. The concept that we must seize his passport to stop his escape is absurd." The discussion highlights a core conflict. On one hand, those claiming the authorities must adopt all safeguards given the unique threat level. On the other, those asserting the actions are too much and that Trump, serving 35 years already, offers no practical flight ding. At 7:15 p.m., insiders knowledgeable about the secret supplement to the authorities' document started disclosing specifics to journalists. For those insiders, the supplement contains captured phone discussions between Trump's allies and people in Russia. The discussions, occurring in late August following the asylum bid's publicity, cover arrangements for a possible removal. One discussion, per insiders, involves using a health crisis as an excuse to shift Trump from the jail site. Another addresses private plane availability and paths evading US and NATO zones. The insiders portrayed the captures as proof that the asylum bid isn't hypothetical, but that people are earnestly debating its execution. At 8 p.m., the White House issued a declaration. Quote, "The president maintains complete trust in the legal proceedings and in the actions implemented to protect that proceeding's soundness. The leadership backs initiatives to block any person, irrespective of prior role, from dodging justice." Here's what we're monitoring in the coming days and weeks. 6 signs that will indicate if the passport seizure is a preventive action or if there's an ongoing scheme to aid Trump's escape. Sign 1. Does Trump's well-being abruptly worsen, needing external health treatment? If Trump gets transferred to a clinic, it opens a chance for removal. Any health crisis will face intense examination. Sign 2. Do further captures show continued scheming? If spy agencies spot additional talks on removal schemes, it implies the danger is genuine and ongoing. Sign 3. Does Trump's attorney group submit an appeal contesting the passport seizure? If they intensify the battle, it could suggest they think Trump might gain from passport access later. Sign 4. Do any people linked to Trump exit the nation abruptly? If allies or relatives head to Russia or impartial nations, it prompts inquiries. Sign 5. Does Russia react openly to the passport seizure? If Russian authorities denounce the directive or support Trump, it indicates sustained asylum interest. Sign 6. Does the Bureau of Prisons relocate Trump to a higher security site? If he shifted to a supermax, it implies officials view the breakout danger as grave. Here are 3 possibilities for the passport seizure's reason and future outcomes. Possibility 1, the seizure is a preventive action and no events unfold. Prosecutors see the asylum bid and secret chamber as showing danger, so they're applying all potential safeguards. Trump stays jailed. No breakout try happens. The passport seizure turns into a minor note in the matter. This is the caution possibility. It presumes the authorities are excessively vigilant, but no real scheme is present. Possibility 2, an ongoing scheme exists, and the seizure interrupts it. Spy agencies have identified major removal planning. The passport seizure, along with text notification and no-fly actions, renders execution much tougher. The scheme halts or gets dropped. Trump remains detained. This is the interruption possibility. It presumes the danger is actual, but official moves halt it. Possibility 3, the scheme persists regardless of the seizure. The planners adjust. They secure fake papers for Trump. They arrange his transfer through a path avoiding formal border checks. The seizure delays but doesn't halt the endeavor. This is the adjustment possibility. It presumes the participants are skilled and resolute. Subscribe immediately. Like this clip. Comment your forecast. Which possibility holds? I'm following all 3. And as spy info advances and Trump's circumstances change, you'll find the breakdown here. Let me explain why seizing a passport from someone jailed holds legal importance. Courts hold the power to apply terms to block flight, even when the accused is detained. The basis is that detention isn't everlasting. Accused can get freed via appeal, receive humanitarian discharge for health causes, or rarely break out. By seizing the passport now, the court assures that if any such events arise, the accused lacks immediate ways to exit the nation. Moreover, passport seizure conveys a signal to anyone thinking of assisting the accused's escape. It clarifies that the authorities know the danger and are acting to block it. It heightens the challenge and repercussions of trying a removal. What I confirm definitively now, at 2:47 p.m. today, federal marshals reached FCI Terre Haute with a judicial directive. At 3:15 p.m., they seized Trump's passport. At 3:34 p.m., the Bureau of Prisons informed the court that Trump lacks access to travel papers anymore. At 4 p.m., the directive was unsealed. It labels Trump as an extreme flight risk due to the Russian asylum bid, the secret chamber finding, and his resource access. The directive orders Trump's data entry into texts warning border officials across the country. Prosecutors submitted a public summary detailing the basis and including a secret supplement with captured talks. Trump's attorney group labeled it shocking and unlawful. Legal scholars are split on if it's wise or too much, and insiders claim the secret supplement holds captures of discussions on removal arrangements. Trump is jailed, serving 35 years. His appeals are done. His passport is seized. His name is in the no-fly repository. Border officials are warned, and the authorities are applying every action to ensure that if he obtains liberty, he can't exit the nation. Remain on this channel. Activate alerts as spy data on any removal scheme emerges. As Trump's attorneys appeal the directive, as his well-being or detention state shifts, you'll get the breakdown here. This is a passport taken from a jailed man. This is authorities labeling him an extreme flight risk even locked up. And this is the newest heightening in a matter where each advance appears more remarkable than the last.